Welcome to Unleash Your Inner Goldilocks, how to get it just right. Thank you so much for joining us for another exciting and deeply meaningful conversation. Every week, we look at how do we get things just right in our world where everything is moving so fast, people are getting so polarized, and the mindsets are so caught up in the transactional world that we forget to take the time to transform ourselves and transform others, keeping in mind transformation only happens together. There has to be participants in the process, and everybody in the process is transformed. And Goldilocks is teaching us how to show up for those moments just right. Not too hard, not too soft. Not just hard on other people, but not too hard on ourselves. We're the hardest critics for ourselves. So don't show up too hard. Don't show up too soft. Always make sure that we're showing up from that place of centeredness so that we have kindness, compassion, and grace for ourselves. And then we can take from our full cup and pass it on to others. And we are creating ecosystems that are capable of transforming ourselves and those around us. Today's conversation is going to be very much in that theme. As the world evolves and women are finding their power and their voice, and more communities are empowering women to join the economic ballgame and become economically viable so that they can be strong mothers for their families, they can be strong community members for the fabric of their society, and they can be very strong partners to their spouses, because men and women need to show up equally strong for a family to be viable. And how this is possible, how is the country of Belize doing this, and who are the people making this possible is going to be today's conversation. And joining me for this conversation as my very special guest is Dr. Minerva, all the way from Belize. Dr. Minerva, welcome to Unleash Your Inner Goldilocks.
Thank you very much, Dr. Henry, and I am very excited to join you today.
I am blown away by the things you do and how you impact society. And you and I accidentally met at a coffee shop, right? And we started chatting, given our nature. You and I talk to anything that moves or thinks of moving. So our personalities opened up the conversation. And a couple of years later, here we are. Can you take a moment and share with our audience, what do you do for a living and what brings out your passion and motivation to do that? We'll start there and then we'll build up towards the rest.
Thank you so much. I am an educator by profession, and now that passion has really driven me to find a niche. I think I have signed up to be that agent of change, as is the mantra of one of my schools of education, so that I have been using my formal training to really go out to communities throughout Belize and empower them through sensitization, through educational campaigns, through toolkits or any practical materials. So I would really describe that, the merge of my profession and now my passion, giving me the chance to really live a vocation.
That is amazing. And you're so true. When our passion and our vocation come together, there is so much joy in what you do, how you do, and you seem to find an unending supply of energy because what you're doing is fueling you. So talk to us a little bit about finding that right place for you, getting it just right. How has that transformed you?
It really starts with understanding your purpose. And I think over the years, I have been blessed by having great mentors. And so every step of the way, I was given an opportunity to explore new skills, new knowledge, and really understand what the needs of those around me look like, whether they were family, colleagues, they were, contractors of the government, for example. I've had the opportunity to really connect with so many sectors, and that has helped me to really understand that using my love for teaching others can give me the opportunity to first connect. I really feel that relationships are priceless. And so if I want to make a difference in someone's lives, I need to go in, be immersed, and really understand, remove all the biases, all the lens that I have. Secondly, I have to think strategically. How can I break down information? Or how can I make something that can easily remain as jargon? How can I put that and make it relevant to the learners or to the communities or to any of the partners supporting interventions? And so with that, I think I've really been able to hone in. And as you're saying, it's very rewarding. Just walking away with someone coming to chit chat at the end of an event or asking for a number to do a follow-up consultation and really knowing that they can call upon you because they know that I do not have all the answers, but maybe, just maybe, in my network, I may be able to connect them with someone else who has.
Absolutely. And that truly is where your engine gets recharged, right? So I am totally with you. And I love how you talked about leaving your biases aside, immersing and connecting so that you understand the needs. Too often people enter a situation saying, oh, you don't know anything, you don't have anything. I come from a better place. I am going to give you and I am going to teach you. And that I thou relationship where I am superior, you take from me, doesn't work because it dehumanizes the other and doesn't give them the opportunity to truly own their power and be who they are, because being different is not being bad, right? So I love where you are taking this conversation, Dr. Minerva. Help us think about how we can influence others to start from that place, leave the ego behind, because if you're a change agent, you're here to serve. And when you're here to serve, it's no longer about you. It's about who you are serving. And how can any tips you have for people to flip the mindset of, I am going to give you to, we're going to co-create together, but I need to understand where you are and what is important to you and what is culturally relevant to you.
Certainly. I think it starts with really having a hunger for continuous learning. I think that anytime I can have the chance to sit down and read a book or listen into current affairs, international news, it really widens my horizon. And so I get to understand outside of my microcosm that there's so many other things perhaps that I can contribute to, but I can also learn from. And so it has to come with this sort of formation. I have to do some nurturing first. And that comes with signing on to courses, reading books, creating communities, connecting with other communities and spaces like this one. And so we constantly are in dialogue with others around us, learning. With that, then, you have the position or you have the opportunity to perhaps carve some sort of strategies or tactics. You hear me speak a lot about strategies and tactics because really at the end of the day, I feel like, I help to develop strategies that are going to become relevant and that are going to make some meaningful impact in the lives of others. When we leave a school and we've looked at how to improve their sanitation services, for example, I need to think practically about the strategies and the realities for that community or in the context of my country in this case. And so going out to be a change agent starts with having data, having information, having knowledge, and that comes with that formation that's intentional. And then going out there to get input and to consult with those whose needs you're trying to meet. And once you have that sort of information, you can then look at how to best position the next step or how to move forward. And there's really, I think, no straightforward recipe, but leadership, and I've really been honing into leadership even before my formal degrees, is really a journey. And I constantly want to continue to be my optimal self and to really develop and assist others as well. I think I'm moving into the space of a bit more of a mentoring. And so, it's now my turn to start helping as I have been coached, guided, and mentored by others. But in many cases too, I'm still a mentee because there's never going to be, the day when you've learned everything that you need to know. So I think if that's in any way a guide, that's what has worked in my experience.
That is brilliantly said, Dr. Minerva, because ultimately, if we don't have the hunger and the passion to learn about others, learn about circumstances, suspend our belief system, right? And then understand without judgment, that is such a key. And as you are talking, it is helping me paint a picture for our audience as to how you have gotten to where you are. Now you are you're leading an organization called NIME in Belize. It is an organization that is prevalent not just in Belize, but in all the neighboring Caribbean and Latin American region for empowering women and giving them the opportunity to own their personal power, leadership power, and their economic power. Talk to us a little bit about what is the importance of bringing NIME into Belize and how is that helping transform lives of women?
We are very excited. NIME is about to go into its second year in Belize, registered as a nonprofit. It does have an alliance, a binational alliance with a Guatemalan counterpart. And as you rightly said, we are envisioning being able to really catapult this community into the wider Central America and Caribbean regions. I think most importantly, NIME is meeting a present need for a community of women in business. As in many other parts of the world, entrepreneurship may be mostly led by women, but the decision making and when it comes to networks and associations, you see many of them being male dominated. And so NIME is the first women-led agency in Belize. So all our members are women in business. And we've come together to create really a space where no question is unwarranted, and maybe where so many other interventions such as capacity building, maybe marketing or branding from a national perspective have left pockets. There's still gaps. And at NIME, we can really be, the drivers and really say, okay, we need to understand more about e-commerce. How can you break down all the legal, regulatory aspects, all the international business components, and how can we start moving towards maybe advocating for changes? How can we talk about the double burden of care? Many of our women can only attend sessions in the evenings because that's when they have a greater support network for their children. And so we cater to the needs, but I think also we're evolving as women in business because we have spouses, we have family members who are ever so supportive, and it's changing a mindset. And so I think that's the greatest experience we've had. While we continue to move through some of the barriers and challenges for economic empowerment, we are changing mindsets because we're also the drivers behind some of these changes.
I love the work you're doing with your co-founders through NIME, and I have had the honor of collaborating with you and delivering some training. So I am super excited And it is also my hope as NIME gets established and starts getting funding that we can bring women from outside and integrate those different perspectives in here. And then maybe even open up markets for Belizean entrepreneurs to take their goods and services outside of Belize, because this ecosystem is very small, less than 400,000 people in an entire country, right? So the demand is not as much as the supply can be. And so there are so many opportunities. To talk to us a little bit about the potential in Belize and the capabilities and the talent women possess, and how it can truly bring opportunities for entrepreneurs from other countries to utilize Belize as a supply source, a environmentally friendly, eco-friendly supply source that allows then two ecosystems to be lifted up economically.
Yes, certainly. As you've seen by meeting many of our members, either online or in person, many of the products and the services the women have developed are quite innovative. They are highly supportive of sustainable development, for example. And so there is a great opportunity to connect with, the different markets outside of Belize. We pretty much have the opportunity to connect with any of the Anglo-speaking or the Spanish speaking, first of all, because many of us are bilingual. But I think we also have the opportunity to meet the demands of, sustaining any interest, curiosity that arises once a tourist leaves Belize. There's an instant connection, and many of the services the women and the products that the women have continue to really celebrate the unique identity of Belizeans. And so if you're looking for a product that's environmentally sustainable, that's very mindful of how it's going to impact with any kind of its byproducts, we have members who are keenly working in their labs on those. If you're looking for products that are just at the click of a button now, because this hybrid world we live in can support, any kind of skills transfer or training. We have those opportunities within our membership. And then we have those that celebrate our food, our traditions, our culture. There is so much, I think, that women from NIME can also benefit in meeting women from other countries and learning from their experiences, exchanging information, contacts, and who knows, really driving that supply chain and really helping to expose our products to a world market. At the moment, I think one of our greatest known product is Marie Sharps. And if you listen to the story of Mrs. Marie Sharp, it's a wonderful story of resilience. And I think that continues to inspire. But why not have more of our women at that international level, and also equally inspiring those that are coming after? Because so many more women in their 20s in Belize are now entrepreneurs, unlike some of us who began in our later years. And so, that's the mind shift I spoke about earlier. I think now we have the opportunity to say, here are case studies, not from books that are coming from abroad, but really case studies that we're living, that we're seeing, that we're nurturing. And that, I think, is one of the greatest assets of that community we have at NIME.
Beautiful. And that is why I am so excited to not just feature you here, Dr. Minerva, but truly bring the collaboration and co-creation to create impact, and then cross-pollinate with both networks so that we can truly transform everybody, because this is not somebody giving to Belize. This is everybody enriching each other, and in the process, everybody becoming a better version of ourselves intellectually, humanely, and economically, right? So we're all going to get transformed at all of those levels. How can people get a hold of you, get in touch with you? Share us that information, and then I'm going to open it up for conversation with our live audience.
Certainly. So first, I am the managing director of Right Insights. It is a family-based firm in Western Belize, and we've come together as a number of experts within a group of our families who can continue to navigate different services and products for institutional strengthening primarily. So my personal email is mpinello@rightinsights.bz. And I can also be reached at Nime through nime.bzechapter@gmail.com. And I'll be happy to either, share with my co-founders at Nime as well, any other questions, or in our case at Right Insights, from the number of our associate consultants, any support. But really, truly willing to continue to create that network globally and to connect with like-minded leaders.
Thank you so much, Dr. Minerva, and I will make sure that both this information are available as we release the episode. I can keep talking to you for hours, but let me open this up for the audience. I know they have questions and they want to talk to you.
Hi. Can I just say I am completely bowled over by you? In fact, I've got a little bit emotional there, because one of my great passions is being a leader. We don't have to follow the male way of leading, and your power just comes out, but you have the most fabulous feminine air about you. And I think that is absolutely amazing and really, really inspiring. So thank you. It's really good to hear all that. One of the things I was really interested in when you talk about the women in Belize is how culturally different it is, the role for a woman. Is it actually very hard to be entrepreneurial? What are the sort of social norms in the roles of a woman that makes that difficult?
Thank you, Bridget. Excellent question. We have diversity. It's a very rich, diversity of ethnic groups. We have about 9 leading ethnic groups in our country. And so it will vary from group to group. For example, in the Mayan community, still heavily male dominated, you will find that some of their social norms will continue to create additional challenges or barriers sometimes for women to participate in training. But we've been able to tap into groups that are established women groups in these indigenous communities. And so it helps us to really offer the opportunity for capacity building. And as I said, maybe cater to the time of the day when they're available and will have more support. In other cultures, the level of matriarchy is stronger. And so you'll see that, that's really not much of an issue to participate or to be a part, except of course that you need to have that greater network when it comes to child care duties or any other logistics at home. And so from time to time, we will see some that social norms impacting our women. But in general, I think we are gravitating more and more as women in Belize to those who can be contributors of household economies. And I think women are gaining at least more respect in that sense. Mind you, it doesn't come without its challenges still and the barriers that will be ever so present. But I think at the same time, even our country, talking at the level of legislature, is becoming more mindful of some of the amendments that we must make to acts, some of the policies that must come to support the employment opportunities, and maybe really address vulnerable employment, because our women are still hired under vulnerable employment opportunities. So that's where we really have to hone into some of the changes.
Yes.
Thank you so much
for that completely.
Thank you, Bridget.
Thank you so much for that deeply meaningful question, Bridget. And I love how you introduce the different cultures that are there in Belize. Belize has East Indian community that looks like me. They have the British ancestry, right? They, believe it or not, they have the German Mennonites. I'm in Belize right now, so we have the Chinese, right? We have the Spanish Mestizo community. So it truly is rich and vibrant. And the African community that was brought in. So the vibrancy and the tapestry is truly beautiful. Go ahead,
Yes,
Robin.
that's very exciting.
Okay, I am so impressed with everything that you said. I was especially touched at the very beginning of your presentation where you're talking about learning about other peoples, other cultures, so you could then create curriculum and create strategies and tactics that are appropriate for the different people that you're trying to help. I just think that is really fabulous. I'm really big on collaboration and appropriate, genuine collaboration. So my question is, what things or experiences in your life helped you to have this broader collaborative perspective? And how do you help people that you're dealing with have that, broaden their mindset? What have been some of the challenges in getting them to have a broader mindset, and how have you helped them develop this? Hey, we need to learn about other people, other cultures, other perspectives, and integrate that into how we support people.
Thank you so much, Robin, for your question. I think growing up in Belize and going back to the diversity we have, I was always around others who looked very different. We were all very different. And that was okay. We embraced diversity from very early, but we also understand that the way I see something at home may be different from your way because it's based on our cultural norms, our traditions, or beliefs. And so I think that really helped me to understand that I could go out into the world, but I had to also remove the lens that I was bringing from home or even from school or my church. I had to understand that others may get to a similar goal, but they do things differently because they've gained from other insights that I haven't. And I think that's where, that craving for learning about the other person who comes from a different ethnic background, different religious perspective, maybe a different political view when I was older, really helped to think that if we have to go and implement a project as a professional, there's no way I'm taking a cookie cutter approach. I had to really learn first. I learned very early on, for example, that in some cultures, I could not make eye contact directly, but that it wasn't that they were shy or being rude. It was just that they were not comfortable with eye contact. I come from one of those cultures that makes more eye contact, or there were cultures that were more vibrant than mine and they were louder and they almost seemed like they were bickering, but it was just excitement. It was just their way of connecting. And so going into these communities, because I've had the opportunity to really live in the communities that I've worked in Belize, and then also going to school abroad really helped me to sort of position the differences, and going into communities that maybe didn't have as much of the diversity. I was that one element of diversity too. And so here was my opportunity to learn from them while I was sharing. That I think was the greatest opportunity for me to really be as open-minded. And so that's what I would like to share with those who want to think about development, for example. I'm very keen on development, looking at projects and interventions, that we start from who we are. We're very confident of who we are, what we bring to the table, but also we're very mindful and respectful of all the differences around us. And we try to learn from these differences. And then we try to think about the best way forward, trying to support or impact. And I think that for me, being a teacher obviously completely also assisted me in being very systematic in my approach, and having that training for doing something in a very formalized manner. Although in some cases, as you well know, I'm sure both of you, you have to be informal in some ways too to get to that end goal and try to readapt. So that I think has been my greatest way of growing, of learning, and of leading.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. That's a great
Thank
answer.
you.
Lovely question, Robin, as always. Thank you so much to our live audience for always showing up and being present to support and actually frame and showcase our guest, because you as live audience truly bring vibrancy to every episode we have here. So Bridget and Robin, thank you. Thank you for joining us today. And Dr. Minerva, you are the embodiment of what we are trying to do here in Goldilocks. None of us know everything. We just need to have an open mind so that we are willing to take perspective, see the different colors in the rainbow, so that we can all enjoy the beauty and vibrancy of what those colors, what those iterations, those perspectives bring. So thank you so much for being our special guest today. And we welcome you into our Goldilocks community and wholeheartedly welcome you to join us any Saturday you're able to with all your responsibilities. We all take the turn and join whenever we can, except me. And I'm here. I am very grateful for my opportunity to get to know you, work with Nime, make an impact in Belize, my other home. And I look forward to truly expanding this impact and bringing the global community in. Because we're at a time in our world where we need this. Women lead differently. Women lead through nurturing. Our power is the quiet, nurturing strength. It's not the physical strength where I need to beat something up to show that I am better. We are happy to nurture and bring everybody into the fold because together we can achieve more. So we inherently have that capacity. Let's keep building that. And that is my call to action to all our audience out there. Unleash your inner Goldilocks. Embrace all the vibrancy around you and show up with that vibrancy that together we can build a world that we deserve, our children and our grandchildren absolutely must have.